Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Success Innovation. Today's episode, it's called Growing and Developing Leadership Skills. I get the opportunity to interview with a wonderful student who is transferring from community college over to California State University at Northridge, otherwise known as CSUN. I get the opportunity to interview Justin Arbaiza. Welcome to the show, Justin Arbaiza. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Success Innovation. Thank you so much to the audience for joining us today. Today, I have the wonderful pleasure of introducing a wonderful individual. His name is Justin Arbaiza. Justin Arbaiza is a mechanical engineering student. He recently finished at Ventura Community College and is in the process of transferring to the California State University at Northridge, otherwise known as CSUN. He was a tutor for the MESA program within the Ventura Community College. He was the co-president of SHIP at the Ventura Community College. Welcome, Justin Arbaiza, to Success Innovation. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me to be on your show.
Thank you for accepting the invitation. Thank you for making the time for this wonderful opportunity. So, I gave a little brief introduction about what you're doing currently and what you've done most recently, but I really want to get to know you. Like, where were you born? What's your upbringing? How did you end up in STEM? Can you kind of walk us through that?
So I was born in Ventura, California. I'm 21 years old. I was born and raised in Ventura, California. And then I lived some time in Santa Paula with my grandparents and went to school there till about 5th grade. And then I went to Balboa Middle School in Ventura, California for my sixth grade to 8th grade. And then when I graduated from Balboa, I went to Buena High School, which is right across the way from Balboa, Ventura. And I was there for about 4 years till my senior year. And then in my junior to senior year, I started familiarizing myself, and that's where my STEM journey started. Okay. That's where I got into STEM. I joined a science league, which is a club at my high school, where you present chemistry experiments for students and kids. So we host like family science nights every Friday night, like once a quarter, and we would demonstrate different science experiments to kids and their families. Also, once a semester, we would go to different middle schools and present science experiments to the students. So to familiarize with STEM. And then my senior year, I did AP Physics. I had a co-teacher named Mr. Schuster, Paul Schuster. He was funny because he would make the class fun and interactive. So he bringing these hard topics of physics, because physics is hard, and he would make it simple. And he joke around with us and made it fun. So that was fun. But the exams were, and then the exams were fun too, because he would he'll make up his own problems. So for instance, he would use, for example, projectile motion, SpongeBob SquarePants flew one of his rockets over to one of his restaurants and figure out the maximum height, stuff like that. So it was fun. So at that time, physics was hard for me. So, right. And then when I got into community college at Ventura College, I liked building things when I was a kid, building Legos and stuff. And I really liked math because throughout high school, my freshman year in high school, I scored 100% on my Algebra 1 final.
Wow, congratulations on that. Yeah, awesome.
And my teacher came up to me and said, "What do you think of joining honors math for your next year as a sophomore?" I'm like, "I'll give it a try." and I did, and I pursued honors math throughout high school. And from my junior to senior year, I was a year behind in math because I did algebra 1. And what I did was between the summer, between junior year and senior year, I did a trigonometry class at my community college over the summer. It was a 6-week course, so I can do AP calculus my senior year. So
Awesome. Awesome.
it was fun. So, and then I came to community college and did all my courses there. So
Let me go back to your early beginnings there when you were, when high school, when you started joining that science club that you mentioned. Was that because you wanted it, or was it because your parents pushed you to pursue something, to do an activity after school or during school? How did you join? How did you figure it out? And why did you want to join?
So we had a club day at school, and I went up to the table, and it looked like they were doing fun stuff and cool
Okay.
stuff. Like I liked getting my hands on and doing science experiments. So I went to the teacher that was in charge of it, and I joined, and then I kept going like every Wednesday to at lunchtime to go see what the club is about, and I learned a lot. And
Right.
so it was more of like what I wanted to do
Okay.
and what my parents wanted me to do. They say, do what you love, find something that you love to do, and I did.
Okay, just for the audience, your background right now, you have Ship Nation with the ship national symbol conforming the O right between the I and the N.
Mm.
How did you find out about SHIP? Because SHIP stands for Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. For the audience that has probably seen this a couple other episodes, you know what it is. But for the audience that doesn't, it stands for Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. It is a nationwide in the U.S. It's a program. It's an organization that is living, that it allows individuals to do network within boundless limits that are focused on Latinos, Hispanic descent, but it's open to anybody. How did you find out about this, Justin?
So my ship story, my ship journey was very interesting. So it was my second year of community college, and I went to the current president at the time, and the ship chapter at my community college was very disorganized in a way. Like the communication wasn't there, and then the ship chapter went to the dark for quite some time, for about a couple months. Then starting my second year, yes, starting my second year of community college in the fall, I one of my friends came up to me, and she wanted to revive back the ship chapter at our community college. And we were in the message center at the time, and I was talking to my old advisor at the time, and she's all like, I want to revive this club, the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers chapter at our school. And she came up to me saying, I need to create a board. Would you want to be my vice president? And I'm like, at the time I was doing all my science and engineering classes and general eds to get done to graduate. And she's like, vice president, at the time I didn't know what vice president was, only that it took on a bigger responsibility. So I was kind of on the fence at the time, and I was very unsure of if I wanted to do it or not, if it was going to take up a lot of my time. So I told her I was going to think about it for a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
And then about a couple of days later, I came up to her and I said, I'll give it a shot. And
So, right, let me stop you right there. You took a couple of days to think about it. What changed your mind to actually accept? How did you figure, I really want to do this now? Because from you saying, I want to take a couple of days, and then saying, yes, I want to be able to do it. What happened in between that time?
during that time, I was like, it was something new to me. So I didn't know what it was going to consist of. And I'm like, how can I explain it? Is like, I wanted to give it a shot. Like, why not give it a shot? Like, what can I like I can always step back of the role. So that what made my intention to say yes, because
Mhm.
like later down the line I could regret it, and like I should have done it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Right.
I'm like, oh, why not give it a shot?
Mhm.
Nothing bad's gonna happen. Just like, why not just try something new? So I told her I would give it a try.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So you're in community college and you're taking your engineering courses. You're in the second year. I want to go back a little bit before we actually delve into more about the ship path that you've done and followed through. How did you decide to pursue engineering, mechanical engineering, out of all the engineering course branches that exist? You could have gone electrical, chemical, bioengineering. Why mechanical and why engineering?
So I found out, like, in the beginning I was gonna do chemical engineering,
Okay.
because I did throughout high school. I did chemistry and all that stuff, and I thought it was pretty cool. It was really simple and all that stuff. But when I got to community college, and I'm like, like I said, I took my first chemistry class. It was kind of hard because doing a chemistry class in high school to college is very different, because you go more in depth in the college courses. And then I met with the counselor to see what my classes were going to be like for chemistry, for chemical engineering. They say you're going to do all these biology classes, these chemistry classes, organic chemistry, and all these theoretical classes. And I'm like, I like more of the math portion, math side of things, rather than the conceptual thinking, the theoretical thinking.
Mhm.
And then I was talking to a couple other friends of mine that I made through the Mesa Center, and they were doing mechanical engineering, and they told me the classes that they took, like more physics and math classes, and like that was more up my alleyway, because I could apply the math that I learned and apply it to real world problems. So I'm like, went switch to mechanical engineering.
Well, fantastic, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that path. So then you're now your second year and you're decided that you want to be a mechanical engineer and you're presented with ship. Did you have a notion of how big of an organization ship was? Or was it just, oh, it's just another club within my community college? Can you kind of tell us what your initial thoughts were at that point?
So at first, I didn't even know what ship. I knew the basics of what ship was,
Mhm.
the professional side of engineering to help Hispanics in STEM. That's all I knew at the time, and all I knew too. I was part of Region Two, so I'm like, Region Two, and the old president at the time that told me to be, if you wanted to become a vice president, said we're gonna go to a national convention. I'm like, national convention? And then she's all like, there's 7 regions across the United States. I'm like, what? There's more to this organization than just here at the community college.
Mhm.
And then at the time, we missed the cut line for the national conference, and then I was looking into more into it, and I saw that in February the following year, a couple months after the national convention, there was a regional leadership development conference. It
Mhm.
was going to be in Irvine, California. I'm like, why not plan for this and try to go to that? So I took it upon myself to go to talk to the right people, go to their club, the person that's in charge of all the clubs and all the finances and stuff, see if we can go to this conference, because the
Mhm.
registrations were going to open up pretty soon. So I'm like, so that's where I started learning a little bit more about what SHIP was. And I also
Mhm.
learned at the time what RSR was, which was the Regional Student Undergraduate Representative. And yeah, and so we went through the process, and in February, it was the weekend of Valentine's when we went to the Regional Leadership Development Conference.
Mhm.
And when we got there, it was amazing because I saw so many people from all over Southern California, Nevada, Arizona. So like there was more to the story, you know.
Mhm.
There was more to the organization, and it was pretty cool.
What was your original feeling? What was your original thoughts when you stepped into that RLDC, Regional Leadership Development Conference? What did you feel, and what changed? And if you can tell us what was before for you and what was after that RLDC.
So, but before I was very excited, like the couple days before the conference, because I was going with people that I was close to, that was at my school that I made friends with. So we were all going together, and there was something new to us. So I never been to a conference at the time before, and when we went, it was pretty cool. So when we got there, it was so amazing because we got to see so many different individuals from all over the place, from Southern California and stuff. And it was so cool because when we got there, it was so welcoming. Everybody saying hi, how you doing, and all that stuff. So more of that welcoming feeling. So it was pretty cool. So it was a sense of gratitude and like comfort.
Mm, okay, a sense of comfort. That makes sense. Yes, fantastic, awesome. So, you know, you're right now, you're in that transition from Ventura Community College to California State University at Northridge. But going back to what you were saying, your most difficult subject, from what I gather, was a chemistry class where you said, hey, chemistry, chemical engineering is definitely not for me. How is it going with mechanical engineering at this point?
I feel like going through mechanical engineering has been a success. I think it's been pretty good for me so far. It's been rough. It was a rough journey. My
Okay.
last couple semesters, especially my last fall semester before transferring when I was applying to colleges and stuff. That was one of my toughest semesters. But I got through it. I was doing all STEM classes. It was very hard, a lot of studying and stuff, but it was a success. Like I have the mentality of like you start something, you got to finish it. You can't drop out. Like I had a couple times during that semester in particular of I wanted to drop this materials class, engineering materials, and I'm like, I started this class, I'm like, I need to finish it even if I don't pass it. Having that sense of like you finish the course rather than dropping out is a good feeling, you know.
Hmm. Okay. Have you found that by, you mentioned Mesa, which is a tutoring program offered through various schools, and obviously Ventura Community College had a chapter there, but SHIP is a little bit different. Have you found more support through SHIP as far as your, education career has developed, or not? How
Yes,
so?
yes. So SHIP has changed my life a lot
Okay.
in the positives. At the time when we went to RODC, I didn't know. I knew a lot of Region 2, so I made a lot of connections. And then a couple months after that, I got invited to go to this NILA conference, National Institute Leadership Academy for chapter leaders. So I went to this conference in Phoenix, Arizona, and it was cool because I got to fly in an airplane for the first time.
Okay.
So it was pretty. So it was an adventure from the beginning. And then when I got there, I got even more surprised. Like I got to know SHIP at a larger scale nationwide. So I got to see chapter leaders from all over the place, from
Right,
all
right.
coast to coast. And I got to meet more people. And what's cool is that it's like a sense of familia in a way because you get to meet with these people and it's so cool because I got to see people there that I met at RLDC a couple months back and it's like, how you been? How's everything going? So when you have those like family reunions and you're like catching up on things, so it's having that feeling. That's how SHIP brings, it's powerful.
That's cool. That's amazing. Yes, and just to emphasize what Justin is saying, that sense of familia, that sense of community, because when you're in SHIP, you're essentially all fighting for the same goal, and the same goal is to be successful engineers, but you're all Hispanic or Latinos, and you all come together. So essentially, you have similar backgrounds to an extent, and you can relate to the stories of, hey, I grew up in Ventura County, and somebody might be like, I go over to Florida, but I'm from Venezuela. But at the same time, you all have similar backgrounds, and you all essentially can relate to the music flavor. You can relate to the way you talk. You can relate to the way your parents possibly brought you up to a certain extent. And that brings and makes it possible because it allows you to see other individuals as yourself, the same skin color, the same similar culture background, and it makes you believe I can do this. If they're doing it, I can definitely do this. So you have role models to follow. And that's essentially what SHIP National is doing for students and for young individuals that want to pursue that type of career. So thank you for sharing that with me. Now, you and I were talking a little bit before about something very special that you're doing. But before I get into that, I want to mention, and you said this was okay to mention, you have Asperger's autism. Can
Yeah.
you share a little bit how that has hindered you or enabled you to succeed in your pursuit of success uh, while pursuing an engineering career?
So back to my early days through elementary school and stuff. I didn't know I had Asperger's at the time. I was socially awkward. I didn't know how to fit into crowds. Like I didn't know how to interact with different kids and stuff. I mainly was in the classroom with adults and talking to them rather than being outside and talking with kids. And then in middle school, I got to work with a speech therapist, and that's where I was diagnosed with autism. So I got to work with them throughout my middle school career, and by joining and it got a little better in a way, but not really through middle school. Like it was getting better in a way because I didn't know how to socialize a lot. It was slowly improving throughout middle school. And what I realized is by having those social barriers, it was also hard to focus in class. So I was having trouble in classes. And then when I got to high school and by joining those clubs it helped me a lot more. And I saw my grades improve a little bit more. So it was a slow process going through, and it was hard having this disability, but it was beneficial in a way
Thanks, man.
because my parents were very disciplined with me. They said books are the way out. Like if you focus on school, that's going to be your key to success. And they were right. And looking at me now, it has helped me a lot having them been disciplined with me over the past couple of years.
Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you for sharing that. And the reason I bring this up is because you and I were talking about, this this situation, this disability. And, you mentioned that it has enabled you to succeed to a certain extent because you've been persistent and you've been tenacious to reach your goals. If you set them, you're consistent and you want to pursue them. Along those lines, you've entered into SHIP, and not only the regional SHIP, you've gone up as far as the national level. And at this point, you're doing something really special at the national level. Can you kind of share with us what is going on that you are doing at the national level?
So I thought of the idea of my sense of feeling of how to give back. So I was thinking for a while of an idea of how I can give back to the organization that has helped me a lot within social skills, my professional development skills, my academics. So it has helped me a lot through my personal growth. The idea that I thought was more because I didn't see this a lot within the SHIP National. like a program to help students with disabilities like autism, Down syndrome, mental illnesses, stuff like that. So I brought to the idea to them of like starting a program that can help students with mental disabilities and learning disabilities, physical disabilities, such like that. So it's a work in progress. So we're
Of course.
soon trying to start a program like that.
During the planning stages, conversations with the national board level. But I want to commend you because you're bringing forth an idea and you're following through with it, and you're saying, hey, from the ground up, this is what I think. This is what I think our community needs, because you're a living example, Justin, of what SHIP can do for individuals that have the type of mental illness, or I don't want to say disability because it's a little bit different. Um, but there's individuals that are able to do it if only given the opportunity and the resources and the little push, and allow them to believe in themselves further. So I want to commend you for doing that and for tackling that with the national board level and pursuing that. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. I really want to commend you for it. And you and I spoke yesterday about this, and I think I'm really excited to see how far you go with it and what you can actually push. And I told you, if anybody listens to this video, let's say a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line, they can say, oh my God, Justin was at the starting point at this, during this interview. And now look at what he's been able to achieve. So that in retrospect and in, future casting, is amazing to even envision. You cannot even fathom how big and how strong the program would be if you stick with it and you develop it. I want to congratulate you for that effort. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah. And the powerful thing too is the starting point of this is networking. The power of networking is the important thing. Is like when I went to RODC in Nila, I met all these individuals that work for Ship National. So that's where I got my connections to communicate with them. And that key aspect of the power of networking is the way to go. And like, it's not like what you know, is the who you know, you know?
Right. You know, that's a good point. And I want to expand on that. I always tell students it's not what you know, it's who you know. But more importantly, who knows you because of what you've done and the persistence that you have, that can reference you, refer you to a position, or talk well about you to somebody else that can give you an opportunity that might change your life. So it's not what you know, it's who you know, but who knows you. So take that into consideration as well for the audience. And Justin's on the right track. I definitely commend him for that. You've been very successful, Justin. You've completed high school. You've completed Ventura Community College. You're on the path to transferring over to California State University at Northridge. You've been a mentor with Mesa. You've been the co-president of your SHIPS chapter. You're having those conversations at the national level to institute and develop a program for students with disabilities and mental illnesses. But what is next for Justin Arbaiza? What is coming up next? What is your vision and goals to pursue at this point?
So my next steps is to attend California State University Northridge in the fall. Um, Within SHIP, I would say I want to keep giving back to this organization that has helped me a lot throughout the past 2 years that I've been with them, going on 3. And I applied for the Vice Regional Student Undergraduate Representative. So I just applied, so I'll be having an interview coming up soon, mid-July sometime, to see if I'll be a vice regional graduate representative for the fall, for the next academic year.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's awesome. That being said, I wish you the best of, not luck, but the best of preparation so that you can do well on that interview, and peace of mind for you, and to go all in and strong and explaining what you would definitely do and change if you become the regional vice student representative for our area, so or for the national level. Good leaders always create good leaders. Do you have any individuals you actually look up to? Essentially, who are your mentors at this point?
I actually have three good
Okay.
mentors. One of them is Stephanie Prado.
Okay.
She's a master. She's doing a mechanical engineering degree, a master's in combustion, I think,
Okay.
at University of Oklahoma in Oklahoma.
Right.
Um, Another mentor of mine is Emily Ann Vargas. She's pursuing a PhD in material science
Mm-hmm.
at USC. And then another one of my good mentors is Sofia Plata.
Okay.
I mean, her PhD as well, I believe in environmental science at USC as well.
No, I know Emily Vargas, and I know Stephanie Prado, but I don't know Sofia Plata. So I'll definitely reach out to connect with her. You know, I am scheduled to interview Stephanie Prado. She's one of the original founders of Chipitines. So yes, so that's awesome, cool. Um,
Yes.
with that being said, you know, if you could definitely share with us what your superpower is at this point. And if you don't know any superpower, if you could select any superpower from any of the superheroes that you admire, what would it be? What would that superpower be and why?
A superpower, huh?
Yes. Yep.
Kind of hard. Um, it's kind of hard. I never thought of it before.
Well, now it's your chance to go ahead and give it a thought and tell us why. You know, it could be super speed, it could be reading people's minds, it could be X-ray vision, it could be flying, it could be, jumping or being super smart or something that you have at this point. You know, persistence, tenacity, courage to take on different
I think
challenges.
the determination,
Okay.
determined to keep, like, I don't know specific superhero, but a super like determination, because if you're determined to do something, like if you find something that you're passionate, you'll be determined to do it. And if you set your mind to doing something, you'll continue to do it, because the only person that can stop you is yourself.
There you
So
go. The only person that can stop you is yourself if you stop believing in your goals. That's a good one. And I think that's not a superhero power from the comic books. I think that superpower comes from you, from within you, Justin, because you have it. You've shown that tenacity, that determination to continue pursuing your goals, despite what people might think, despite what people might say. You're still forging forward. So I congratulate you once again on doing that. And that determination is your superpower and it is what keeps you moving forward. Thank you for sharing that with us. And for the audience, take heed of that. Justin just shared a wonderful piece of advice. You're the only person that can definitely stop you from reaching your goals and achieving what you really want. That's awesome. Justin, do you have any particular books? Do you have any particular movies or podcasts that you believe have made an impact in your life that you wish more people would actually take advantage of listening to, reading, or watching that you can share with us at this point? Podcast, book, or movie?
ooh, I think a podcast would be, I don't know the name of the episode, but I know who does it is Brienne C. Martin's The People
Nice.
Engineer.
Right.
Just started recently her podcast, and
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. She one of the episodes that I recently heard was about the story of life, like define what your life is, like do not let anyone tell your story, you tell your story. And like the importance of life, live happily, and like do what you love, and don't worry about tomorrow, worry about today. And forget about the past. The past is the past. Today's the present. Focus on the present.
Right. Yeah. And Brianne Martin, she's from Region 5 in Texas. And yes, I interviewed her and it was an awesome interview. So yes, you'll definitely, if you're interested, you could watch the episode and you can definitely learn more about Brianne Martin and what she's been doing and what she's after and her story. So that's awesome. Thank you. And any other recommendations that you might have? Okay.
Today, um, there was a leadership book that I read about a year ago. I don't know the name of it, but it was from Maxwell,
Mm, okay.
and he's good. He defines what true leadership is, and like worry about your people and like take care of your people. Like surround yourself with good people and lead them. Like tell them, like what I brought out from reading it is like you create these relationships with different people and you create friendships, and like what what I've learned too is like what true friendship is like you can go days and weeks and years without talking to them, and like you have a purpose, you know, like if you really care about them and love them, like you'll tell them focus on your goals, keep going, and like worry about yourself, you know. I'll be here, give me a call or text me, you know, and like they'll still be there, you know, even if you guys don't talk for like months or days or years, you know, they'll still be there for you, and they just want the best for you. And I feel like that what defines what a true leader is, because you want the best for your people, you know.
Yeah, so John Maxwell and also Brianne Martin are something that you wish more people could definitely take advantage of and read. Awesome. Thank you so much. Everybody has definitions of success, and I want to know from you, Justin, what your definition of success is today. It might have changed, it might be different tomorrow, but right now, what is your definition of success?
My definition of success would be hmm, my definition of success would be accomplishing like anything, like getting up in the morning, making your bed, like you accomplish something, you know, like that feeling of success, like you've done something simple as making your bed, you know, like it's still you accomplished something, you were successful in doing something. So I feel like the definition of success for me would be like accomplishing a task, you
Awesome.
know.
Yes, awesome. Yes, and you mentioned something that I also mentioned to students and to professionals. If you have a routine and you set your mind to it and you make your bed, and that's one of the things that I tell them. If you make your bed, that's a physical sense of accomplishment, which means
Yes.
that it's a small win for that day. You accomplish making your bed and you just build on that. And the more you build on it, you win the day. And if you do it day after day, you win the week. And if you win the week, week after week, you win the month. And if you win the month, month after month, you win the year. And so on until you build on and you get so good at doing wins and wins and wins that you become successful. So that is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that insightful, valuable piece of information with us of start with making your bed. Thank you so much, Justin. Really appreciate it. Um, this last question, I really enjoy asking every guest that I bring forward because this last question, I want you to get in on a time machine. And let's assume you're in your room right now and you could definitely close your eyes and you could go back to that 11, 12-year-old Justin Arbaiza just about to go into middle school. and you could share with them three pieces of information, three pieces of advice with little Justin in about 2 or 3 minutes that you have with him, what would you say to that little Justin with his backpack and his glasses, ready to hit school at the middle school age level? What would you share with him?
What would I tell them?
What
What would
would
I?
you share yourself, little Justin, right now?
I would say keep going. Like one, I would say don't give up. Keep going. Focus on you and keep going and don't give up, even if it gets hard. Two, I would say don't be afraid to be yourself because every person is unique. So that's three. I would say have fun. Don't worry about tomorrow and just have fun. Enjoy what you're doing at the moment.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Justin. Those, little pieces of advice that you would share with little Justin for right now are amazing. Those are really good. They're incredible. Thank you so much. I want to acknowledge you for the job that you're doing, for your persistence, for your determination, for not giving up, for believing in yourself, and for keeping going and continuing on your path. Definitely appreciate you allowing me the honor of interviewing you. And I definitely want to commend you for, the background that you have, the Ship Nation. That is incredible. Thank you so much for bringing that forth because it defines who you are, defines what you are after, it defines what you want to achieve. I really want to acknowledge you for all that you're doing for our organization and for yourself as well in this world and for the community that you live in. So, with that being said, thank you, Justin. Yes. And to the individuals, to the audience, to the people that are watching, I want to say thank you so much for watching another wonderful episode of Success Innovation. I wish that you can definitely give me comments and share with me what you thought about this episode. Reach out over to Justin Arbaiza. I will put his LinkedIn connection at the bottom of the description notes. And I can definitely say I look forward to seeing you and connecting with you in another wonderful episode in the future. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me at another wonderful episode of Success Innovation. I hope you learned as much as I did by listening to Justin's story of how leadership through the organization of SHIP has made a significant impact in his life, both personal and scholastic in leadership skills. I hope that you are able to connect with him. This is Lázaro Herrera for Success Innovation. See you next time. Bye-bye.